All right, here we go. This is an impromptu movie review. Just saw Sonic the Hedgehog, so this is an immediate impromptu movie review. Literally just got out of the theater. Excellent. At least a 7 on a normal scale. For a video game movie, this was a 10. For a genre, I think their focus was on like the preteens, junior high and up. Definitely a family film. For that genre, definitely a 10. All over, probably about a 7. Adults can enjoy it. The humor is a couple of fart jokes in there, but besides that, the humor is actually about being funny, which I really appreciate. What else can I say about this movie besides go and see it? It was great. The worst part of the movie were the two kids sitting next to me that got nachos, and boy, did they smell. I don't know if the kids smelled or if it was the nacho smell, but the combination, there were two like teenagers sitting next to me, or early 20s or whatever, and it was overpowering for most of the movie. That was the worst part. Besides that, good movie, well told. Definitely stuck to the spirit of the Sonic, whatever, universe. Every time they tell a new Sonic story, it's something different. The comics were different than the TV show from back in the 90s. With Jaleel White, who did both voices of Sonic for both the Saturday morning cartoon and the afternoon cartoon, which had two different storylines. And the comic had a different storyline. Then the other comics had a different storyline. And each game had a different storyline. And you know what? Don't care. Sonic was fast. I like what they did with the rings. I think they did a good job with that. It was well told. It was very well paced. I didn't fall asleep like I did with Detective Pikachu. This is probably the best video game movie ever made. Definitely the best family-friendly video game ever made. What else can I say about this? I really enjoyed it. Good news. There is no scene after the trailer. So the movie ends, and there's a couple of things that happen while they're starting to roll the credits. When you get to the actual credit crawl, where the black screen with the white writing on it, the regular credits, you can go. There's nothing after that. There is a post-movie scene, pre-credits, I guess you'd call it. It's short. It was good. What else? What else do you want to know about this movie? It was well told. I didn't notice any, what do you call those things? Continuity flaws. It was a fun buddy movie between Cyclops from the X-Men, from the original X-Men, and Sonic. James Marsden. Who was very enjoyable on scene. I really enjoyed James Marsden in this. I enjoyed Sonic. I'm glad for the revamp. I only came to see this movie because of the revamp. I don't really like Jim Carrey anymore. The behind-the-scenes stories about this man are consistently that he is rude. And especially on Man in the Moon. Yeah, the one about the guy from Taxi, Andy Kaufman. He was very rude in that. He was supposedly very rude and behind the scenes a lot of the time. I'm trying to keep politics out of it, but there's a lot of people who don't like working with Jim Carrey because of that. And his movies have not been very good lately. I've tried to watch a few, not impressed. Yeah. However, he did fine. He did good, actually. Definitely played an over-the-top villain. Played it right up to the hilt. A lot of things that annoyed me about this movie happen in kids' movies. And far too often in adult movies. There was definitely a scene or two where police would not have acted like that. A trained police officer would not have done what they did. But I don't expect writers of Sonic the Hedgehog to necessarily get... But it's basic stuff. Letting somebody into your house or not letting somebody into your house, letting somebody go into somebody's house without a search warrant, without asking for a search warrant. I know I'm bringing the adult world into a kid's movie at this point, and I apologize for that, but there's no reason to not have it in there. It makes it more real, and cops will not let somebody from the government into their house. Yes, there's a scene where they go into a cop's house. I don't think that's the greatest spoiler in the world. Without a warrant. They do not allow people to search their stuff. They will not talk. This is kind of getting to the adult side of things here, but cops will not talk to the police without a lawyer present, and neither should you. And that should be reflected. Like, people should know this. It's relatively common knowledge that you need a warrant to go, that the government needs a warrant to go into your house. Fourth Amendment, unreasonable search and seizure. So government agents, don't let them in without a warrant or a writ or something, as Annie Potts, Janice's character, put in the original Ghostbusters there. I watch TV. I know you need a writ or a warrant or something to come in here. Anyway, this was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I had an okay time, except for the nacho kids next to me. I hope that was nacho. The smell just lingered. It just lingered. I'm like, is this... I don't know what pot smells like. My first thought was it was pot. And I realized they had, you know, the nachos, and it kind of smelled... It didn't smell like regular nachos, but these are movie nachos, so... I don't know, man. I just don't know what's going on anymore. It's a good movie. Funny jokes. I don't want to give any of the jokes away. The storyline made sense from start to finish. There's probably some plot hole that they messed up because of editing or something. I didn't catch it on a casual first viewing. I don't plan on a second viewing, but it wouldn't be bad to see it again. Jim Carrey is not intolerable in this. It's a little annoying, but he's not intolerable. He's actually, there's some funny parts. He's a funny guy. He's a very gifted physical comedian. There's some scenes in there where you just gotta accept the fact that he's goofing. He's being a goof. Let him be a goof. Enjoy the goofiness. Is it as good as The Mask? No. No, it is not, as far as his performance goes. The rest of the movie was quite good. It was very enjoyable. He was actually not, again, he wasn't bad. I just really don't like... He made a bunch of stinkers there, all right? He made a series of stinkers. If I see Jim Carrey's in a movie, I invariably, except for this time, invariably wait for it to go to DVD if I'm going to give it a chance. If I'm even going to give it a shot. Anything after Liar Liar, basically. He's just stinking it up. And, yeah. But he wasn't bad. He's still got that physical comedy side to him. He's still... Anyway, there's some conceits, and the whole concept of Dr. Robotnik is a classic movie conceit. He's the genius from the government with 1,000 degrees. 1,000 degrees. It sounds like I'm right down the street from 1,000 Degrees Pizza. Different kind of degree. 1,000 university degrees. He's got, you know, PhDs and all sorts of things. He spouts out words from other languages here and there. It was all right. I love what they did with the rings. I thought what they did with the rings was brilliant. It's not the same as the video game, but it's still very good. They do something like this in one of the video games, if I remember correctly. I stopped playing after Sonic 3. Yes, Sonic 3. Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3. That was my last Sonic game for the Sega Genesis. For those of you who still know what a Sega Genesis is. What else? I liked it. I liked the movie. Really enjoyed it. Had a good time. Glad I went to see it. Glad they changed Sonic up. That's the whole reason I went, because the movie company, the production company, decided to... wow, I really need a shave. I look like... I don't know what I look like, but it's not my best look. Not when I'm in a theater full of kids, anyway. And the kids were quiet. It was just the two teens, or early 20s, or whatever the hell they were, next to me, smelling it up with their nachos. I hope it was nachos. Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought they did a good job. I would recommend it to anyone who wants to go see a fun family film. Probably the best there's definitely the classic superhero story in here, the telling of him learning how to use his powers. the hero journey, the quest, the MacGuffin. Oh, it's more than just a MacGuffin. It's sorry, MacGuffin's the wrong term for this. It's actually a necessary plot device. What else happens? A MacGuffin is an unnecessary plot device for those of you who don't know. It's just something people are after in a story. So, classic is the Maltese Falcon. The Maltese Falcon doesn't do anything. It's just valuable and people need it. So they go after the Maltese Falcon. It's not like the Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Ark is not a MacGuffin. The Ark actually has a part in the film. What else? I don't want to talk about what the MacGuffin was in Sonic. You'll figure it out very quickly. If they were good, if they were really good, they would turn this into a cinematic universe, or a series of movies anyway. Like, we use that term cinematic universe all the time now. But like Fast and the Furious, they could do 10 of these. It wouldn't be hard to do 10 movies if they want to. 10 good movies too. Not like Fast and the Furious is on what, 9 right now, plus Sean Hobbs. And I stopped watching after the second one because the second one was just, it was bad. And the third one was worse, Tokyo Drift. I couldn't even finish Tokyo Drift. And they're like, yeah, but Vin Diesel comes back in 4 and he reinvigorates the franchise. And I stopped caring. So everybody's like, hey, you gotta go watch these. They're really good. So maybe now that 9 is coming out in theaters, I'll go and watch 4 at some point. Maybe. Probably not. 3 was really bad. It really took me off the series. What else happened in this movie that I can talk about? Hero's journey. It was a solid hero's journey. It's a solid superhero origin story, learning how to use his powers. What else happened in this movie that I can talk about? Doobie. Great location shooting. Totally violated use of force. There's some stuff you just got to give a conceit to, like, suspension of disbelief. And one is their use of force, their understanding of laws. It's not cool. Cameos. There's a lot of cameos, not like bit parts really, not really cameos, bit parts in this movie of incredible actors who have done fantastic roles. We're only on screen for like 2 minutes here and 2 minutes there, especially the military guys, some of the guys in town. You'll be like, I know that guy. What's his name? But they've done some fantastic, like some of these guys are major actors and they're just in the film for 2 minutes to be, military guy, Jim Carrey. Excuse me. Jim Carrey gives a hard time to. I'm the military guy Jim Carrey talks down to show how cool he is. That's definitely something they do to impress the preteen audience there, the middle schoolers. It reminds me of the WWE, to be perfectly honest. It's right out of the WWE, just trash talking somebody. And it's not the best part of the WWE. It's not like it's Rock and Cena going head to head, like they did, 4 or 5 years ago. That was unleashing. Like, those guys are masters of the craft. This is just like early on in the night WWE, where we're letting the new talent try and work out what they're doing. WWE. Jim Carrey trash talking is that level of trash talking. I don't know if he wrote it himself. I don't know if the writers wrote it for him, but whoever did write this shtick, not impressive. Not horrible, but you got it. It's part of the genre. You know what you're getting when you're in the genre. You're going to get somebody who talks about how great they are. Oh, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Sliced bread, by the way, is the greatest thing since Betty White. Betty White predates sliced bread. What else is going on in this movie? That was just so, like, it stood out to me. Like, this is just bad trash talking. This isn't even good trash talking. It's just bad trash talking. I'm the smartest man around. My hamsters are all groomed perfectly. I have a beautiful mustache. None of those lines are in the movie. But if you think about it, that's what I thought of when I am Jim Carrey, and I am playing the greatest thing ever. It's good. It's a good movie. Well done. Definitely within its genre. Yeah, I should have shaved before I went to this movie. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Gotta shave for work anyway every day. What else is going on in this movie? What else can I tell you about? I told you about the cameos. I told you it's a classic hero's journey. I told you it's a great superhero tale. They really do him learning how to use his powers well. He already knows how to use his powers to a certain degree. But at the beginning of it, there's throwbacks to the original Sega game. They do an 8-bit retrospective at the end of the movie, and it is so 8-bit. And I say that knowing that it was a 16-bit game, but it's an 8-bit retrospective. Like, everything looks 8-bit. It looks like it came out of, I would say, the Nintendo, the original NES. Like, there's a cross between. The graphics are not as good or smooth. Like, the thing about the Sega Genesis that made it better than the Super Nintendo had more color, but the Sega Genesis was faster. The games on that Genesis processed at a blinding speed for the time. Still a blinding speed when people overdo the graphics for modern day gaming. But at the time, 1989, 91, whatever it was, the Sega Genesis was just fast, and you could see all the detail. And this was not that. Wasn't bad. It was quite good. It's just something a nerd from that time period would have picked up on, that it wasn't as smooth as a regular 16-bit game from the Genesis. Maybe it was 16-bit Super Nintendo style, because it was not smooth. It was okay, but it wasn't. Go play one of these games. Go play one of these Sonic games. It is beautiful. Even, yeah. Anyway, even today, it's still. I haven't played one in a while, but I do still play Herzog's Y and Mutant League Football on my phone on an emulator. All games I own at home. I do break out my Genesis probably about once every other year these days. Stopped playing the Atari. Gave it to my nieces and nephews. Love the Atari. But I've got the Genesis. I have a Super Nintendo. They still all work. I actually have 3 Genesises and all these games for them. Yeah. Whenever I'm feeling retro. Anyway, what else is going on? I'm hoping they do a Sega Universe sort of thing. There's a hint that they might do something like that, where they show a bunch of old classic Sega games at the very beginning of the film. And that would be neat, especially if it's just done well. I'm not looking for great, okay? I don't want them aspiring to greatness with these films. I want them to aspire to telling a good story well. If you can do that, we will pay for these forever. So anybody in the movie industry listening to me, if you can tell a good story well, we will pay for it forever. We will go to the theater and pay for it. And have an idea. They already have an idea of what movies are going to rake in. I'd love to blow that out of the water this weekend with Sonic. I would love to see that blown out of the water with Sonic. It was a good movie, and they listened to the fans. Oh yeah, I don't think I mentioned this. Star Wars told us fans why we're wrong. DCU has been telling us fans why we're wrong. Ghostbusters 2016 is telling us why we're wrong. We're the customers. We're the ones buying your product. If you bother to look, we'll tell you what we want. We're very, very vocal about what we want. Then you don't give it to us, and then you're surprised when we don't go to your movies. Well, Sonic gave us what we asked for. They did. They went back. They had an original CGI animation. The fan reaction was that it was awful, and the studio goes back and redoes the animation to make it look more like the video game. And it was very well done. I really enjoyed it. It was a really, really good show. Definitely wonderful. Yeah, it was good. Highly recommended. Probably the best video game movie I've ever seen. Again, about a 7 in regular scale, 10 on the video game movie scale. Which is high. I can't think of another video game movie I would put at about a 7. Maybe Detective Pikachu. Sorry, Detective Pikachu put me to sleep. I know if you're a Pokemon fan, it wouldn't put you to sleep. But there's all these long, beautiful visuals that Pikachu did, where it's just showing Pokemon being Pokemon and humans interacting with them that have nothing to do with the story. It's just in there to show the world that is the world of Pokemon and make it seem real. And if you're a huge Pokemon fan, you're going to love it. It's going to come to life for you. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. I went to go see that because Ryan Reynolds was basically playing a G-rated version of Deadpool. And that's pretty much what he was. And it wasn't that great. It was all right. I enjoyed the parts I was awake for. That's awful. It's true, though, but it's still awful. So that's what we got. 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Solid hero story. Jim Carrey's, he's good. He's not great. There's parts where he just goes off and he's Jim Carrey doing his physical comedy bits. And I'm like, I didn't pay to see this. It's not bad, but I didn't pay to see this. He's probably coming back for the sequel, and I don't blame him because he actually did a good job, but I really don't like that guy. He's disappointed me a lot. This did not renew my faith in Jim Carrey, by the way. It didn't. This was not a performance that said, wow, I've been wrong about this guy, or wow, he's turned it around. It was a performance that was like, that was good. That's it. That's what he's putting in. Probably he's just going in and doing the work. Felt at some points like he was phoning it in. Coming in and doing the work. This was not his greatest performance, but it was one of his better performances recently. This is not John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, which was his comeback movie. He had already done one comeback movie in Look Who's Talking, but that was a different genre. Look Who's Talking and Pulp Fiction are not even close to being the same kind of movie. But John Travolta's career started off with all those dance movies and was effectively a teen to 20 audience level, Saturday Night Fever and all that stuff. Did a whole bunch of movies till that died. Did a bunch of basically B movies in between, and got his shot at Look Who's Talking and nailed it. Figured he's doing the father figure from now on, which is it's a good role, playing that character. And then he got a chance to do Pulp Fiction, which was completely different, which led him down the action hero path, which just shows his range. He's doing, the dad movies, and he's doing the action hero movies. But the comeback for John Travolta was definitely Pulp Fiction. And it's good. Anyway, this is not a comeback movie for Jim Carrey. Might be for James Marsden. I haven't seen him since X-Men. Well, technically I haven't seen him since Superman Returns with Brandon Routh. That was a mistake on so many levels. I should do a review on that one of these days. But yeah, go see Sonic. It was good. Thank you.